Let's go.
So I gotta go though. So I can't pull off on the side of the road. So we will be safe. The Lord's got me. But excited to be on the show, man. Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for coming on. I trust you. You're a quarterback. I'm giving you the keys. Honestly, like you're the people, not only on the football field, but in life. Like, calling games for ESPN and stuff. Like every time I work with a quarterback, like they're always driving. They're kind of making the reservations. Like, I'm cool with that. So I like the alpha in the room.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't condone this though. So anybody that's listening, don't Zoom and call. But yeah, we're made for this. So
you're the best, dude. You're the best. When you look back at those, you're headed back to Waco now, which has got to kind of like jog some memories for you. When you look back at those years, your run at Baylor, a phenomenal run. What stands out the most to you, Bryce?
Man, I get this question a lot, and it's something that I really enjoy saying because I think the most memorable thing for me is really the mentality change that we had. When I came in, and I tell this story a lot, but my visit, it was really in 2009. So I gray-shirted, red-shirted, blue-shirted, I think, and there was possibly a green shirt in there. I was in college for 8 years. But so in 2009, I went and watched Nebraska come in and play Baylor, and there was more red in the stands than green. And so to then come on campus in 2010 and go from 2010 to 2011, the transition in our mentality of being, we were circled on a lot of people's calendars for a homecoming game. By the time I left, no one wanted us at their homecoming game. And there was something that was really cool about that transition that I think looking back, I didn't appreciate just because you're in it. It's like, when you're around your kids, you're like, oh man, you don't really get to see how much they grow. And then when your grandparents come in, you're like, holy smokes, they've grown so much. You don't get to appreciate that change. But, with what Coach Briles did and Coach Kaz did, just to our psyche and our mentality alone to say, no, not only can we compete, we belong. And not only do we belong, let's go kick ass. We should never leave a game not dominating on both sides of the football, in the trenches, with our wideouts, with our DBs. We really changed that whole mentality for Waco and for Baylor football as a whole, and that's something I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned Coach Kaz. Like, that's kind of someone who I don't think is talked about enough. Strength and conditioning coach, right? And
yes, sir.
Like, but you're talking about mind, body, and spirit too. He changed the mindset. And I think that is still, Bryce, one of the pivotal, critical positions in college football, that role. Can you kind of expand on that? How much having a really good strength and conditioning coach that can do the mind, body, spirit thing can mean to a program, not just a team or a player?
It's honestly hard to put into words. It is, you spend more time with your strength and conditioning coach than you do your head coach or your position coach, right? So you got to think too, for most of these guys, it's their first time leaving, flying the nest, if you will. They're not with their parents anymore. This is the time where they are becoming men, and they are realizing what it means to be on my own, dependent, making my own decisions. Everybody has decisions to make. Do I go party or do I study? Or go film or go work out, or, even the things that you put in your body, right? And naturally, a lot of those things are kind of tailored towards, the training tables now. You don't have a whole lot of decisions, but at the same time, you still do on the weekends and when you're out of that building. The things that Coach Kaz did for us from a mentality and especially a spiritual side too, was always make you think for yourself. Which I think in this day and age, not to get too preachy, there's not enough people that think for themselves. They read a hotline or a tabloid or whatever, and that's the decision. That's the thing that they hold on to. Thinking for yourself is something that as a man allows you and propels you rather in life much more outside the lines, as a husband, as a father. And so I've always said that Coach Kaz was just as much, if not more, instrumental in our change and our success as Coach Briles was within the system. And so, for guys that are coming in, and again, going back to that mentality change, you have to believe it within, and that comes within the building. Because there's a lot of naysayers out there, and especially with social media, all you're reading is all the negative stuff. If you don't believe it for yourself, it's never going to show up on the field.
Yeah, that's great football stuff and great life stuff. Obviously, you put up monster numbers. What was the defense, though, that gave you the most trouble in that Big 12 era that you played in, that did the best job of keeping you maybe or keeping your numbers in check or giving you headaches?
Yeah, I roll my eyes because I hate that question, but because it shouldn't be a problem. But man, we had, obviously there was two games that resonate to that question. Was 2013 when we played at Oklahoma State, and then 2014 when we played at West Virginia. And both of those defenses did a really good job of loading the box and then pressing up on receivers, which you would think is, as for what a lot of people think that we were an air raid offense, we really weren't, because I've always said, man, everything was off the run. Our ability to run the ball is what made box players come in the box, safeties come down, and if you give us space on the outside, they're going to run right past you, right? Or you have to at least honor the ball, and so that's when we have a little 10-yard stop and you're picking up first downs. Those two defenses, when they came out, they loaded the box, they pressed us on the outside. It just disrupted timing enough to where, man, I could never get to a rhythm of having my typical, 3-step hitch throw, because everything that we did from an offensive standpoint was we just repped timing so much. We repped the same plays, but really what that was timing. It was timing for me to be able to know, hey, he's going to stop here or he's going to go here. And so when you press those guys and give them a little bump, especially because you don't really see that across the board in the Big 12, it gave us some headaches, and I didn't play well in those games.
All right, so that's a great, transparent answer, and it leads me to my next question, which is present day. Kansas State, in order to beat Baylor on Saturday, they are going to have to disrupt Sawyer Robertson, right? Disrupt his timing, get him off his mark. At playing quarterback, how important is that early that you receive the protection that you need, right? In a big game like this, so you can find that rhythm.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you got to think, man, to get a snowman, you got to start small, right? And so those are all those little things that you start the game off with, those little 5-yard passes, the bubble screens, things that just get you in a rhythm offensively. And a lot of that too is to just stay ahead of the chains. Man, it's really hard to be productive when it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14 all the time. And so, I think what Sawyer's done an incredible job of all year is just staying within himself and allowing, kind of the defense or the offense really to play to his strengths. But specific to your question, yeah, I mean, if K-State disrupts him, gets him off of, his mark there. And when I say mark, it's just that mark that's right there in that little cushion of the pocket. When you feel comfortable as a quarterback and you can finish throws, your feet get comfortable, that's when he can be really deadly. Now, he's great on the run. I think his off-platform throws are really, really good too. So he's going to make some plays, but I think it's going to call to make him some plays outside of the pocket this week for sure.
You guys use tempo when you were at Baylor, and this offense uses tempo as well. And it's funny, I'm getting a vibe from I'm calling this game on Saturday, so you're talking to coaches and stuff, and I'm getting a vibe around the game that for Kansas State, they want to slow that tempo down, and they want to keep Baylor out of 3rd or 2nd and short, because when you're on 2nd and short, when you're using tempo, you go really fast, right? But if it's 3rd and long, you might take a little longer to kind of, as a playing quarterback, right, to survey what's going on. How much different is that for the quarterback position when you're playing a tempo type offense and you're in 3rd and long as opposed to 3rd and short?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, what we keep talking about, and you bring up a good point, it's rhythm, right? And what we always said, when I was playing 38 years ago was, man, it's all about that first down, because once you get that, then things just kind of roll. So it's really that first series out for, specifically for K-State, that if they can disrupt that rhythm on the first 3 downs, to make those guys, and especially the offense off the field, number one, you're not going to be able to score points if your offense isn't on the field. But number two is you just can't really get that rhythm. And so K-State's always been historically a team that loves to have time of possession. We knew that going into the games too. A lot of what we always said is, man, they can't dictate us, right? If we get that first down, it doesn't matter how much they want to slow the game down on defense. We're the ones that snap the ball, not them. And so for kind of flipping that back on its head, but bringing that back to Baylor's offense, it's always about that first down. If we get that first down, then things roll. Coach Fab gets in a rhythm, play calling, which is just as important, third and long versus second short, and the tempo that you're talking about. That play caller rhythm is just as important as our rhythm as a quarterback.
Now, watching this Baylor team, right, and with the experience you have as a Baylor legend, when you look at this team under Dave Aranda, like, where do you think the program is heading?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question, because I think we've certainly seen some ups and downs. We've seen the roller coaster of whether that be because of NIL. We brought out the shirts last year that were paying guys, which I thought was great, kind of sarcastic a little bit. But I think that for the nature of where college football is right now, it's really hard to dictate what your trajectory is going to be, because things just change. Guys get in the portal, year in and year out, which is something that I've been an advocate for. Like, we got to change that, just for the continuity, but to the culture of the game. I think it's not great for the culture of the game. However, I'm not that decision maker. So, the trajectory for Baylor is, man, if you can allow coach to develop you, if you can allow him to bring you in as an 18-year-old kid and a 19 and a 20-year, it allows these coaches who are really good at what they do to develop you as a player, not only on the field, but off the field. Then we can be deadly. It's a nature of the beast right now for every team to have to try to figure out, what this season holds for us based on the guys that have either come back or we've gotten the portal or left.
Yeah. And you talked about the portal and NIL. How important is NIL and the transfer portal for Baylor to keep pace today in the Big 12? I mean, how hard do they have to hit that? Is there a developmental side you think that they can tap into?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's harder to tap into development, because people, as soon as you have a good season, you're saying, hey, what am I worth? And what are you willing to pay me? And so when the conversation gets about money for an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, the development side is that's not even what you're interested in. It's not what you're worried about. So it can't be what I care about. If you don't want to develop, just you want the money, money doesn't develop, right? So the idea for, NIL as a whole, I love the idea that guys are getting paid. I just don't love the way or the nature of these contracts, these guys that you can just get in the portal, after 1 year. I'd love to see some sustainability with these guys. And that's kind of what we had in the NFL, right? If you weren't a first round guy, everything was a 4-year contract, right? And so I'd love to see that, because one, for college age kids, you graduate, number one, and then after you graduate, sure, go, right? Because you're really at that point where you can either stay in college or you can go to the NFL. But, for the development side of things, to just be bebopping around and really just to, hey, if it's not working out, I'm just going to leave. What does it teach you? And yeah. I'm certainly a proponent of that for as long as it took me to play. It certainly taught me a lot about, who I am. So.
Hey, Scotty, you want to ask Bryce a question? Oh, we're going to bring up our producer, Scotty.
Oh, my gosh.
Scotty gets what's up, Scotty?
Bryce, I think I said this in my email to you, but I was a junior and a senior in 2013 and 2014 at Baylor, so those were the best years of my college life. They were awesome, so big fan. Hey, we've got multiple commenters, man, in the chat, giving you major compliments about the way that you helped promote the chrome helmets before the Auburn game. I know that was a really big hype thing on Twitter and social media for everybody, and great to see you be part of that. Just tell the story real quick, how Baylor got you involved in that kind of reveal. How long did you know about it? How long did you have to keep it secret? And what was that like, being part of bringing that tradition back to the field?
Yeah, man, it was certainly exciting to be asked. Yeah, we got asked a couple of weeks before, the actual reveal to come in and do that shoot with Sawyer. And funny enough, man, I hadn't met Sawyer in person, so I've been a fan of his from afar. But getting to meet him in person and spend some time kind of bringing the old head back to meet the new stud on campus, was awesome for me. But yeah, I think it's just great. I think again, the whole point of the genesis of that chrome helmet for us too was Coach Briles loved to say, "Look good, feel good, play good."
Right.
That was something that always resonated with all of us, man. When you feel good in that uniform, you play faster and all that kind of stuff. And so for us at Baylor to bring out the chrome helmets again, and the nature of we weren't at until that point, we weren't a tier 1 Nike school. So when we were coming in, that was there were guys that were literally going to schools just because if you were Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, as crazy as that sounds. And now it's gotten to the point where, are you giving me $2 million or not? So it's changed a lot. But man, we had a lot of fun with it. Had a lot of fun getting out there and again feeling young again, being on the field meant a lot. So it's awesome.
I'll ask you one more thing, and then I'll let Pete do his job. I saw a photo on X too from that night of the Auburn game that I know a lot of Baylor fans probably just it warmed the heart because Robert Griffin was calling the game for Fox. So you, Robert, Nick Florence, and Seth Russell, I guess, all got together up there for a photo. And of course, for me, again, being at school from 2011 to 2014, I was like, oh my gosh, the boys are back. This is the best.
Yeah.
I know all of your lives have gone in different directions, but what was special about that moment? And I mean, like, Baylor may never have a 4-quarterback stretch like that of just successful, talented guys ever again. What was that like being with all those guys again? Did y'all swap some memories, laugh a little bit? What was that like?
Yeah. I got made fun of from my dad bod, of course, and no, it was good. Like you said, we are in different stages of life. So, but that's the beautiful part about football, man. It brings you back, and it was almost like we never left. The times that we were all together in those locker rooms. Again, you don't appreciate it just because you're in it. But man, we to your point, we really had 4 amazing and talented guys in there, and I'm lucky to be a part of that group. But to see everybody back on campus and get to again support the team today is a blast. But certainly to reminisce a little bit on what Griff built, and Nick at that time to come in, because he played a really big part in that 2010 team, and then obviously the 2012 team,
right? And
then what Seth and I got to be a part of as well in the new stadium. I mean, all that stuff is things that you really cherish, because if it wasn't for those guys, man, we'd never get to appreciate what we get to appreciate as players. And that's kind of been some of the things that I've told these young guys is, man, you have to appreciate the guys that came before you, because if everybody has the mentality of make it better than you found it, then that's where the development and the trajectory, to what you were asking about earlier, comes into play, right? Everybody needs to make this thing better than they found it. Let's make the tradition better. Let's make the winning better. Let's the culture and the team better, to where, man, this is the place to be. And then it's not so much about money. It's like, man, we got to be in Waco because there's things happening.
Good stuff, Bryce. Thanks, Pete.
Oh, you're the best, Scotty. A couple more, Bryce, and we'll let you hit the open road here. But I want to ask a little bit about Sawyer. You met him. The feeling I would imagine that you got, it's the feeling that I get, is that this program is in good hands as long as this young dude has the keys. What are some of the attributes that you were able to pick up from him on a personal level? Because we see him on the field, but what did you glean from that time with him that shows you that he has the makings of a guy who can play in the league like you did and continue to have success at Baylor?
Yeah, well, he's certainly going to be much better in the league than I was. But I think that the unique part about watching him, and this is what I love about playing that position, I always like watching how people respond specifically to the quarterback position. And I've always felt like the moment that Sawyer took over, there was a different response from the guys, that were not only in the huddle with him, but on the sidelines with him as well. Man, when you have that belief in that quarterback that we're never out of a game, it just elevates the team. And so being able to see that, on TV or in the stands, but then actually be, kind of one-on-one with him is where, man, I get it. He has this sense of not only just belief in himself, but just who he is as a person is someone that I really admire, even being an old guy, because it's so hard to be a quarterback, as you and I both know, but especially too in this day and age where, he decided to come back. Could have very easily been a guy that gets in the portal and gets paid a lot of money. He wanted to come back. He loves Waco. He talked about how much he loved Waco and how much he loved his team. And so that certainly resonated with me a lot. So it's the character stuff that I really appreciate, because those are what's going to get you in and out of those games that are those really close games that you got to win to stay in it.
All right. Speaking of close games and staying in it, obviously you played for the Jets, started for the Jets. They're 0-4 right now. What's it like to be in that media market and to have Like, what is? I don't think people understand. I'm from Philadelphia, and I lived in New York for a time, and it's crazy. Like, the media there is just insanity. What is it like? I mean, playing in the NFL has got to be enough already if you're in Seattle. If you're in New York, it's a different animal. Can you walk us through what it's like to be in a locker room taking questions as the quarterback of the New York Jets when the team is struggling?
There's nightmares from that, man. No, it's hard. I will tell you it's hard because in the New York locker room, whether you're Giants or Jets, man, there's 25 beat writers that have a camera in your face, and none of them are saying, man, it looks like I know how much effort you put into this week and it just didn't turn out. Can you just talk? It's none of that. It's, man, you guys really struggled today, and it looked like a lot of that was on you. What do you think? Like, dude, this is my third NFL game. I'm trying. I'm trying the best that I possibly can. This is a hard game. Those guys on that side of the ball get paid a lot of money to do what they do. And so it's just hard, man. It puts a lot more pressure on you to win and win immediately and win in a fashion that is an expectation from the New York media expects, and that's just hard, man. It takes a very strong, chested, shouldered guy to be able to take some of those questions and be like, you know what, I am good at football, because it makes you kind of go back and think like, man, Mom, I just kind of want some soup and curl up. So it's hard.
All right, so on October 30th, you're headed to Waco now, but you're coming back. You and Coach Briles will be honored at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame luncheon. What's it mean for you to see Coach Briles, like, just have institutions like the Texas Sports Hall of Fame sort of wrap their arms around him and welcome him under the tent?
Buddy, I love it, man. I was, funny enough, I was in a meeting when I got the text from him, and I just was able to read snippets of it, and all I saw was, hey, I'm coming in. They want us to speak, and I just said I'm in. I didn't know what it was about, where it was, when it was. I just said I'm in. And he is a guy that has been through a lot, and we as players have not been able to receive anything in terms of what happened, why. All we have to do is read the same things that everybody else reads, but we know him personally. And so it's really hard as a player, and for the influence that he had on me from the moment that I walked on campus, the things that he said, the belief that he had in me, and what he did for Baylor football. Again, 365 days out of the year, not just the days that we played on Saturday. I love that he's getting the love that he needs and the love that he deserves, because we all deserve it, right? It's just an interesting dynamic. Human beings are tough, like we just talked about in the media, but it's a totally different thing now when, at least I get to have an opinion. I get to say, kind of what I saw on the field. I never got to say that, and so all that to be said. And again, he would probably even tell you, like, I don't, it's not for me to say what he would say, but at the same time, for him to be loved on and for me to share a stage with him, I said yes, and yes again. Whatever you got time for, I'm there, because I love him to death.
You're coming back to Waco right now. Anything you can share with us that you're doing? Anything Baylor related? I don't want to get into your business, but if it's anything you would want to share.
No, I'm just coming for Buc-ee's. No, it's funny enough, man. I'm an old fat banker now, so I'm at Texas Capital Bank, and got a meeting out here, and so I have to stop at Buc-ee's. Probably gonna go see the guys over there if I can stop over there for a second. But yeah, it's always funny to hit 35 South, because I got to live it, breathe it, and it's changed so much. So a lot of good things happening in Waco.
Hey, obviously you're here, so a lot of people are watching. Anything you want to share that you have going on, or anything happening you want to promote or anything? I'd love you to.
Man, oh, thank you. Man, anything I want to promote. I've got 3 beautiful kids. I just need prayers. We're on an absorbent amount of nicotine and coffee. We've got a 5-year-old, 3-year-old. Little man turns 2 on the 11th of October. So my promotion is just prayers for sleep. For me and my wife to have sanity. It is beautiful chaos. So no, man, we're enjoying life right now. It's a really fun season, And again, with everything that's kind of happening, this year for me specifically, it means a lot to be able to come back. And the Baylor legend stuff it's crazy to see that. Not that it's prideful by any means, but again, when you're going through it day to day, it's not something you think about. You're just kind of going about your business and doing what you do. And so to be, and I've said this before too, but to have our 13, 14 teams highlighted last year for the championship run that we had, and that it's been meaningful because it's been hard. There's been a lot of times where things have been a little bit swept under the rug and not talked about. Not to say that we ever didn't feel welcome, but there was a funky time, and I'm not going to lie or sugarcoat it. It was a funky time. So to have that happen last year, and then for the opportunity, the blessing to get realized this year individually means a lot. But to have again, just the tradition of what we were able to create and sustain through a lot of Baylor greats before us, it's just it's a fun time right now for all things happening in Baylor football. So
no better time to chat with Bryce Petty, man. A legend on and off the field in the truest sense of that word. Bryce, man, thank you so much, dude, for fitting us into your schedule today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys for the time. I appreciate it.
You got it. There he goes, the quarterback, Bryce Petty. That's about as good as it gets, Scotty. We covered it all, and let's take a break, and we'll come back with some Bryce Petty reaction. We'll love on him because that was cool, and he is certainly worthy of it. The Pete Souza Show, presented by Slovacics. And don't forget about Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, man. They do an amazing job. Keep that in mind. All right? The Pete Souza Show, presented by Slovacics. We'll be right back.